I'm Rob Aldridge, ex-Remy mechanic. I'm doing the welding and fabrication on the Land Rover, and we're about to cut the back end off the Land Rover, so weld on the new Crossmember and the other rotten parts that actually need to be replaced. Okay, we've had to spend quite a bit of time setting up, packing it, getting it all level and jigging it, so then when we actually cut it off properly, it'll be all level and plumb. So we put the new Crossmember to go back on. We're using a plasma cutter which uses an electrical charge and the air, and it will blow, and it cuts through the metal, so we can actually cut the back off all nice and clean, ready for the new part to be welded back on.
Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to start off with some gear that we've just got through from Terra Firma. This particular one is a shock absorber. Lovely bit of kit, nice and shiny. Won't look like this for long though in the field. What we've got here is we've got a set of bushes which we're actually going to replace with some poly bushes, but I'll talk about the poly bushes a little bit later. For the moment, the reason that we've got these uprated shock absorbers is so that when we're off-road, this should give us a little bit more of a comfortable ride than the standard shock absorbers. When we do pull the old shock absorbers off, I'll try and do a comparison for you so that you can see the quality of these compared to the quality of the original Land Rover parts. And hopefully when they're fitted, you'll be able to see poly brushes all inserted and used correctly. What we've also got here is some heavy-duty springs for our Defender. Now, the reason we have the heavy-duty springs is not so that we can necessarily crash it off-road. They actually serve quite a bit of a purpose. The standard springs are absolutely fine for going off-road. However, the reason we've gone for these heavy-duty ones is because it's something a lot of people pay lip service to. When you are off-road, you sometimes get stuck and you need another vehicle to pull you out. In that process of pulling you out, the back end will shunt downwards, and that's what puts the strain on the springs. It also helps if we wanted to add a winch to either of the vehicles later on down the road. It means that we've already got the heavy-duty springs on board, so that when you get the winch and it starts to tow in, it will make the vehicle pull downwards, and that will compress on the springs. And if the springs are that little bit more uprated, they'll be able to stand up to the punishment. So the next item that we've got from Terra Firma is these poly bushes, and we've got a complete set for our Defender, and we've got 2 complete sets for our Discoveries. Now what these do is the rubber parts on the Land Rovers, they're fine as is, they're fine for the manufacturer, they're cheap enough, but you find that after a couple of years they start to degrade, and in the process they let down the performance of the vehicle. With these, they last a hell of a lot longer. They increase a lot of the performance from things like your shock absorbers, from things like your engine mounts, body mounts, things like that. It stops them from, well, the material that they're made of, it stops them from deteriorating. All in all, an excellent buy. We're just having a little go at taking these shock absorbers off. What we're doing is we're taking a little shortcut by grinding the nut in half on top, rather than when you try to turn with a spanner, the entire shock absorber turns. So by cutting the nut straight down, you can take it in half and you save yourself half the bother. Looks quite good though when Dave does it.
Right, we're just going to have a walk through on what's happening so far. As you can see, right in front of me we've got Mac and Dave working on the front springs, removing them. This is the Discovery chassis. It's been stripped down You can see in the background there behind them, that's the engine and gearbox for the Discovery that's been taken out today as well. Rear springs have been fitted, supplied by Terra Firma. Just go around there, you'll see Stuart working on the back there, along with Rich. I do Rich. And then we'll see, here's a Discovery body. It's been put up on ramps now, which we'll have to put the chassis back underneath it later on tonight and set it back on. Over here we've got Tom working on bearings alongside Rob, who is working on putting the back cross member on, and we've got Si over here back at the back of the fender, who's working on the wiring. And you can see it's all been cleaned up, ready to receive the new back end.
Tax, the wire. All the wires are from tax, it's just the shaft that's out, it's leaving it.
Yeah. So, two options. Well, one option I don't like because that's tapered. The other option is to cut the heat shrink and solder back.
Adjustable, just open them ears.
Right, yeah. Now the only thing that's stopping that now is because we need to cut the leg the right length now. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's kind of where we're cutting, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because we've got to slide it on.
That's going to continue then, that angle then, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
So if we just mark that, we can transfer that further up.
Yeah.
We're on the second day. We've got a few hours left before we call it for the night. So we thought we'd just give a little recap on where we're at on day 2. So what we've got at the moment, this is the Discovery chassis. I don't know if it comes through very well on the camera, but we've managed to put the lift kit on. All 4 springs are in. The lads are just in the process of fitting the shock absorbers to the rear. We've run into a bit of a problem with that, where the standard shock absorbers, there's cups on the axle that the bushes are supposed to fit into. But where we've got the aftermarket Terra Firma ones, they're a little bit more meaty and we can't compress them properly. So what we're having to do is we're having to cut the caps off of the axle mounts. The problem is that you can't quite get a grinder in there. You can just about get an air saw in, but we've opted to chisel them off because they're spot welded on. So if we'll take a little walk over there and have a look, see how they're getting on. As you can see, we've got on the one side we've got them grinding it flat, and on the other side Tom's still chiseling the bottom of the cup off, which seems to be fighting him. But if you have a look at the chassis, you can see that now the tank is out. We've cleaned down a lot of it with the jet washer, and we've got everything out off the front that needs to come off. The only thing we've got left really is just the axle, the steering box, and the suspension. So you can see just the depth of how we've gone into this build. If we move over to this way, one of the advantages of stripping the vehicle to the level that we've managed to strip it to is that we can get to every nook and cranny on the vehicle, where normally you'd have an engine in the way or a gearbox in the way, something along those lines. So we've managed to inspect the underside, and we're really lucky, we found in the B-pillars there's a tiny little hole, and I'm talking like that kind of size, so we can just patch that up underneath. But we've been less fortunate with the wing. We'll see if this comes through well on the camera. But if you just want to pan in here, you can see the battery box is rotted out on us, which is what we knew about before we started. It looks a little bit worse from underneath. If you want to try and go that way. We'll try and get you a shot of this. You can see just where it started to rot into the wing. So where it's rotted into the wing, we've decided now that we're going to replace the wing kit, the wings with wing kits. So that's a little bit more welding. We've also taken the decision, because inside of here, and it doesn't come through very well on camera, there's too much rust for the back of the headlight, and it will only get worse over time. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the entire front slam panel. For those of you who don't know what the slam panel is, it's essentially part from here to here. On this side, we're going to replace the wing. It's not as bad, but we've decided that we may as well replace it now rather than 3 years' time, trying to do it with the engine in and it on the chassis and being less room. Right now is the easiest time to do it, so that's what we're going to do with that. Other than that, the Discovery body is pretty much ready to go. What we're going to try and do before we put it back on is we're going to underseal the complete underside with the same chassis paint that we're going to put onto the chassis, obviously, just so that that's good and waterproofed. And then what we'll do is when it's all together, we'll use a wax oil to spray the underneath. Now, this little flurry of activity over here, you might have seen in some of the previous videos that we've decided that we're going to change the rear chassis crossmember, because the old one, which is just sat down here, has got the standard amount of rot in it. That's a good looking bit of kit, isn't it? Yeah, so this is obviously an MOT failure, but more than that, where we're on expedition and we're going to be wanting to tow each other out of holes potentially, or God forbid a breakdown and we have to tow one another, the last thing you'd want to do is use this, because there's a good chance that the whole rear chassis crossmember can come off or just snap. So yeah, we took the option that we're going to obviously replace it rather than leave it or patch it or anything like that. So it is a good solid job. And looking over here at what Rob the welder and Simon and Stu are doing, they are fabricating a new, or rather they're cutting down in order to be able to weld the new piece in. So what they've done, if we can get round the side here, just around Simon, they've cut into the chassis so that they can cut into a piece here so that it can attach on, and then Rob's going to work his magic with the welder, and hopefully we should have it almost as good as factory. Well, better than factory, eh? You know. Yeah, so this is roughly where we're up to at the moment. I think the lads have put in a massive effort to get to this point, and yeah, look forward to the next stage.
Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then please follow us on Facebook and Twitter